They arrived in Washington because the American capital's cutting-edge golden couple, the brand-new president's closest confidants, glamorous scions of wealthy Big Apple households who should pass effortlessly among boardrooms and events thrown through the moneyed elites of Big Apple. With Democratic backgrounds, Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka, 35, and her husband, Jared Kushner, 36, had been visible as potentially moderating influences at the incoming commander-in-chief, distancing him from the indignant populism of the election marketing campaign. Regardless of their lack of presidency experience, the couple, nicknamed Javanxa, wielded unrivaled influence in a White House wherein familial ties are an effective advantage with a president whose suspicion of his very own aides every now and then borders on paranoia. Yet while Mr. Trump declared final week that he was pulling the USA out of the Paris Climate Accord, his daughter and her husband had been conspicuous with the aid of their absence from the Rose Garden. Mr. Trump's selection changed into a victory for Steve Bannon, his leader strategist and a tough-line economic nationalist, and a defeat for Mr. Kushner, Ivanka, and Rex Tillerson, the US Secretary of Kingdom. Study more. Former FBI Director James Comey testifying before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Capitol Hill early remaining month. The White House said Mr. Kushner and his spouse were now not at the Rose Garden right because they had been looking at the Jewish holiday of Shavuot. Mr. Trump's declaration marked the culmination of a miserable fortnight for Mr. Kushner, who is now at the center of the cluster of investigations into whether the president's campaign group had colluded with Russia at some stage in the election. At the same time as the questions of whether Mr. Trump tried to obstruct justice via brushing off the FBI chief James Comey and whether aides were linked to Russian hacking stay paramount, investigators are increasingly more training their points of interest on Mr. Kushner's commercial enterprise dealings. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump himself is preparing for Mr. Comey to testify earlier than Congress on Thursday in what will probably be one of the most watched events in present-day American political records. Questions about Mr. Kushner's role have focused on two conferences he held ultimate December with two outstanding Russians. At the primary, he reportedly recommended putting in a Mystery Again channel at a Russian facility to hyperlink his father in Regulations Transition Group in Moscow, consistent with U.S. intelligence officials monitoring the diplomat. Then approximately 2 weeks later, seemingly at the thought of Mr. Kislyak, Mr. Kushner met Sergei Gorkov, 48, head of the Russian country-owned Vnesheconombank, VEB, the concern of US sanctions imposed after Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. The White House has said Mr. Kushner's assembly with Mr. Gorkov, who become educated on the Russian Academy of the Federal Safety Carrier, FSB, the successor to the KGB, became to talk about diplomatic matters unrelated to private business, even as VEB has maintained it was to do with Mr. Kushner's belongings organization. The Washington Put-Up reported that when his meeting with Mr. Kushner, Mr. Gorkov appeared to have flown to Japan, which Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, changed into journeying. Mr. Kushner, whose younger and impassive visage is frequently visible in the heritage behind Mr. Trump, however, who eschews the limelight, is said to have turned out to be increasingly more pissed off with inner wrangling within the White House. He and his wife have, according to the Big Apple instances, informed pals they have got no longer made an extended term dedication to live in Washington and could evaluate each 6 months whether to go back to private life and their organizations in New York. Mr. Kushner has probably the high-quality workplace within the White House. It became formerly occupied by using Mr. Obama's pinnacle advisors David Axelrod and David Plouffe and is steps far from the Oval Office. Yet while his predecessors filled the room with books, images, and memorabilia, Mr. Kushner has stored its white walls naked apart from a television, a whiteboard, and a mirror as if he may view himself as a brief occupant. Mr. Kushner is the son of Charles Kushner, a magnate, assets magnate and philanthropist jailed for 2 years in 2005 after pleading guilty to 18 counts of tax evasion, witness tampering and making illegal campaign donations. Indignant that his sister Esther become a CEO working witness against him, Charles Kushner employed a prostitute to seduce her husband, paid non-public investigators to film the liaison and dispatched the videotape and photographs to his sibling. Jared Kushner, then 24, flew to Alabama to go to his father in prison nearly every weekend for a year. Leaving behind mind of turning into an attorney, Jared as an alternative went into the family enterprise. He is reputed to view attorneys with disdain, however has said he's going to CO perform completely with all investigations. Democrats, eager to undermine Mr. Trump, are trying to set up if Mr. Kushner changed into at risk of Russian influence because of feasible monetary difficulties faced via his assets organization, from which he stepped down in January. Adam Schiff, senior Democrat at the Residence Intelligence Committee, stated it might query Mr. Kushner about the Gorkov meeting. This financial institution is of particular subject because of direction. It's the concern of sanctions, but also because Gorkov, the top of this financial institution, comes out of a college basically for Russian spies, he advised ABC Information final week.